wanting to hate it, and then I end up hating it. But I can't think of the opposite one, where like I want to love it and then I hate it.
Well, like, imagine if Persona 5 was, like, terrible.
Well, Persona 5 was kind of disappointing to me, but I didn't hate it. I was just like, man, there's a lot of annoying things in this game.
I don't know if I really have a good answer. Like, I don't play a whole lot of, like, newer games, or, like, any new games, really. I just play basically the same old stuff. But let me think on it.
Well, I can give you another one. Because I played this through with Parker. I already knew from you guys playing it, Trev, that Resident Evil 6 was going to be terrible.
Oh,
but I want to like it. I'm kind of a Resident Evil fanboy. Like, I enjoyed Revelations 2, and that game is, like, the most average game possible. Like, it is so average. But, like, I want to like 6, but clearly it's, like, just absolutely the worst.
So, yeah, when I did play 6, I really wanted to like it. And it's just...
Because you really like Resident Evil 4, right?
Yeah. I was fighting hard for it, like, inside.
Dude, it's just the worst.
And then there was, like, a quick time event where we just instantly died because an ambulance plowed into us, and we didn't even see the prompt.
You know, there's another one, Trev, I can think of for you. I don't know if you went into it wanting to love it, but Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City, I know you guys were excited enough that you played it the first night it came out.
Yeah, that was me and Brandon, and we almost beat it on the midnight. So we were like, this game's trash.
So, I mean, you had to at least be like, I hope we like this game.
Yeah. There's definitely some games that I had no expectations for that I either ended up really loving. I don't know. I would have to think about that.
Me doing the podcast with Parker recently has made me like a lot of games where I would play them for 1 second and then put them away. It's actually had me like finishing games. Like I never would have finished Outlast if we didn't do the podcast, because I just would have been like, this game sucks, and just watched it on YouTube. You know what I mean? But since we were doing the podcast, I was like, well, whatever. You know, Trev, did you play Arkham Origins? I don't know if you like playing the Batman games.
I mean, I never actually beat it, but I played it, and I thought it... I mean, a lot of people are just like, it's trash, and I think it's alright.
See, Parker and I disagree completely on that game. When he played it before me, he was a little ahead of me, and when he gave me the copy to play, he was like, whew, he was essentially like, have fun with this. And he literally told me, he was like, you're not going to beat it. And I was like, why? And he was like, there's this one boss fight, and I just know you're going to give up. And when I went through the boss fight, which was Deathstroke, I was like, was the boss you were talking about Deathstroke? And he was like, yeah. And I beat it in like 4 tries.
Yeah, I don't remember doing it the first try, but I don't remember it being impossible.
Yeah, he was like, you are not going to fit. And he hates that game.
Right.
Like, he hates Origins. And I like it so much that I think it's just as good as Arkham City. Like,
I don't really think that any of the games are really like all that good. But I do like Arkham. I gotta say that I probably like Asylum the best, because I'm really not a huge fan of open world.
Yeah.
Like, I like more focused, like, linear game design, and that's definitely just, like, something that I like in general. There's only, like, a few open world games that I can even tolerate.
No, and that's one of the major things we talk about, where it's like, Batman Arkham Asylum's story is like 10 out of 10. It's just really, if you like Batman, it's really just exactly what you want. But Arkham City, because it's more open world, like, those games, like, because they're open world, like, you can't have as solid of a story, you know? Like, imagine if Last of Us, which in my opinion I think has a really good story, like, I know, unpopular opinion, right? Imagine if that was an open world game, you know what I mean? It would be, like, so disjointed.
Yeah.
Are you doing the thing where you, free the guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm gonna get to the Spirit Temple. I was going to do the Gerudo Training Ground, which is the optional area where you get the ice arrows, but there was a point where you needed the silver gauntlets, which you get in the Spirit Temple, which I was like, that's kind of lame. I wanted to do this right away.
Yeah, I don't know. It's, I try to, like, not go into the hype, especially, like, I know I sound jaded, but, like, when a new game comes out, there's, like, probably, like, one game a year where I'm like, Dude, I'm so hyped. You know what I mean? Like, Outlast came out of nowhere. I didn't even realize it was coming out as, like, the Trinity, so I just picked it up and was like, well, I'll give it a try. What's the last game that I was really, really hyped for, where, like, I
don't even know if you like games anymore.
The thing is, I actually have beaten, like, 15 games over this year.
Yeah. Like,
legit. It's crazy. I've beaten more games this last couple months than I have in, like, 5 years. Like, aggregate. I would say it's a really lame answer, but I think the last game I was extremely excited for was Uncharted 4. And because I like movies like that... Get it? Because I like movies like that, I actually had a really good time. I really like Sony's, Is it okay?
Yeah.
I really like Sony's first-party titles, even though they legit are movies with not much gameplay. I guess I'm just more the story type person.
I mean, if I had to choose between open world, a bunch of stupid side quests, and the games are 50 hours long just because there's a bunch of padding, versus 5-hour movie game, I would totally choose the second one all day. And, like, a lot of, like, just AAA gaming is either one or the other.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's actually really interesting because nowadays, for your, like, $60 price tag that you pay for it, like, people either want, like, a ton of hours of gameplay, even if it just means, like, dude, Batman the Arkham games, it's like...
No. Actually, right now, it'd just be easier for me to get caught. Hey.
The Batman Arkham games, you can beat them pretty fast, but if you want to do, like, all the Riddler stuff, it's going to take you 1,000,000 hours. But it's like, is that what I want to do?
Yeah, like, Arkham Knight actually was a game that I stopped playing because there was a point where it made you do, like, a couple side quests, and I'm like, I don't feel like this. I just want to do the story.
No, I totally
Like, games
agree.
like that, I totally don't want to do side quests. Actually, I was talking to Ben about something. I'm playing a game, Shin Megami 4.
Oh, yeah.
And, there's 3 routes to
Lol.
it.
Okay.
This is, like, the easiest way to do this. There's 3 routes to any Shin Megami game: Law, Chaos, or Neutral, which is pretty much standard for any morality game. But usually for those games, Neutral is the hardest and the longest. But in this game, at a certain point, once you get locked into the Neutral path, it makes you do every single side quest in the game. And you're just like, come on.
Dang.
And, like... To get locked into Neutral, you have to skip... The side quests are called challenge quests. You have to skip a lot of them because they affect your morality.
Literally just killed her.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of times when you have to skip those. And so, at the end, when you get locked into Neutral, you skip all, like, the level 10 side quests. And at the end, like, when you actually get set in your path, you're, like, level 60. And just like, oh, just do, like, 20 level 10 side quests. This is really fun. So that was definitely not fun at all. But it was my fault for not doing Law or Chaos. I really should have done it first.
I don't know. I know a lot of people would disagree, but I agree with Trev that, like, a game that has, like, aimless, like, open worldness, like, I'm not, like... I don't know, the simple fact that it has a lot of hours of gameplay, it's like, whatever. That's why I'll always be against, like, the Elder Scrolls and the Fallout series. Like, I just don't, like, get it. You know what I mean? Like, it seems very aimless for me. I'd rather do, like, I love the God of War series, and they're not very long. Except for the new one. Does not look good.
What about Breath of the Wild?
I don't think I would even play that game, to be honest.
I did have fun with Breath of the Wild, and I will admit that almost everything in that game is optional. So going for 100% completion is just literally just like you want to do it, more so than you're forced to do it. I definitely don't think it's 10 out of 10 best game ever. I'd probably give it like an 8. But I had fun with it.
I think the simple fact that it's like pretty open world, I guess it just turns me off. I remember my favorite experience with that of all time is like everyone loves, pretty much universally loves Far Cry 3, and I started it, and you go through the story stuff, and it was very intriguing. Like the bad guy is like awesome, and I was just like, man, I'm gonna love this game. and you start out and like the actual gameplay, and you're in this huge island of an open world, and it's like the first quest is something like, go grab this thing from here and take it over here across the island, and I was literally like, nope, just took the game out.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll just read the plot synopsis, because that's the only reason, because I was like, this bad guy is so cool, this story's gonna be awesome. And I'm sure the story is awesome, but it was like, hey, do this quest where all you do is pick up an item and drop it off somewhere and take 15 minutes. And I was like, yeah, nah. Sorry, Ben.
Yep.
I know you and your Skyrim, Mr. Todd Howard himself.
I don't have a lot of experience with open world games. It would be only like Skyrim, basically. And it was okay. I played a lot of it, but I didn't end up keeping up with it. That game's like what, 4 or 5 years old now, and
Yep.
like they just keep.
Actually,
It's actually 6.
6.
Like 5.5. So
Are you
in
for
November,
real?
it was 11, 11,
Wow.
11. Yep. So like, legit.
That game
That-
has amazing longevity.
That's one
I
of
will
the.
say that.
That's one of those games where like legit. It's probably top 5 games where I don't understand the hype on it, because there are other open world games that do more, and
Yeah.
every single thing I've seen in Sky, like, first of all, the palette, like the color palette of it is like the most boring of all time. So if you're gonna be playing a really long game, you at least want to be like, well, at least I'm like, it's like everything looks different. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And like even Oblivion has a more vibrant world. I don't know. Skyrim's world is just like so dull.
Oh, Oblivion, everyone's face just looks hideous.
Yeah, they do look really
Yeah,
bad.
pretty much.
But like even the Fallout games, I understand the appeal a little more, you know, because like the dystopian future thing is pretty cool, and you got mutants and you know whatever. Like Skyrim, I cannot believe that game is as huge as it is. I mean, it's re-released on the PS4 and Xbox One, and 6 years later, the Switch is getting a version, which by the
Yeah.
way isn't coming out for like 6 months after the system coming out, because they're hammering away. Thank you, Base Todd Howard.
Yeah, like, for open world games, I can understand why people like them. This is kind of mean to say, but people that don't care how they use their time, and they just have so many hours where they're just like, I don't have anything to do, but I don't want to buy more than one game a month. And it's like, well, those are perfect for you. It's just a bunch of busy work, and you get fun out of it because you're like, oh, I'm level 50,000, and I did...
Oh no.
Oh,
One game a month? The last game I bought was Doom.
Doom 2016. And
No,
it's
I
now.
had to buy a 1993 off of Good Old Games. No,
Was it
but
not on Steam?
I got it off Good Old Games, just out of preference.
Oh, okay.
But, I did get the last new game I bought was indeed Doom 2016. I am one of those people who is just like, you know what? If I can milk as much as I possibly can out of all my old games, then I will never have to buy any new games.
That was weird.
That was weird.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, like...
I am your worst customer.
I'm that dude who just,
but
like...
you're an outlier of someone that doesn't spend a lot of time playing games, and when you do, it's usually... Oh, cool. Good start.
It's very specialized games.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you... Video games are not a priority to you.
they aren't. They really aren't. In fact,
But I'm talking about people that play games every single day, but they want the best bang for their buck, like, no matter what. I'm surprised it did not count.
Yeah, that's good.
Can you imagine a double KO?
So these small, the fringe minority of like gamers who do need like every AAA release. Is that
I don't
like
even think it's a fringe. And I would say, in your case, like, there's more of an extreme fringe. I would say, like, speedrunners kind of, like, develop from people like you that go back and play StarCraft for the 1,000th time. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but there's people that just love a game so much that they're willing to go back to it literally forever.
I love the phrase, not that there's anything wrong with that, by the way. But, yeah, no, I mean, because, you know, I just found out, or found in Heroes 3, and I can't believe I haven't been playing them, the random generated maps.
Really? There's, like, just completely random generated maps?
Yeah, there's a lot of templates, actually.
Wow.
So, like...
Do you have to do any work, or do you it just does it for you?
Does it for you.
Wow.
So, actually, I could do one of those as well in the near future.
Yeah, you should.
And I've been playing on higher difficulties as well.
I could imagine, like, it just, like, you starting up one time and, like, 10 turns in being like, yeah, I'm gonna lose. It's like... Well, like, so are they so randomly generated where, like, right outside of your stuff there could be, like, really hard enemies?
They're generated in such a way where, like, there's some basic guarantees. Like, basically, they separate, like, sections of the map into different zones. And, like different zones, like, placed around the map are gonna have, like, your castle, an opponent castle, and, like, that zone will also have one wood, one ore mine, and then, like, there's gonna be algorithms to, like, make sure that you, like, don't get stuck behind, like, an extremely, like, it just makes sure that you're not, like, in front of black dragons, like, when you start out.
Yeah.
So, it's random, but... What kind of haberdashery
So this is the funny way to get past this gate. Let's see if we can do this. But what you can do is that after a certain point, you can... There's no traction on this wall, like, at that point right there. And you can just go through that wall over there because there's no, like, collision with the wall. And I did it the first try, but I'm not going to do it again because it's not really that interesting. Plus, I have to open this gate anyway.
So, let's see. I would say, out of the games that I know are coming out, I have two that I would say, besides Madden, which is a guarantee every year, but I'm not necessarily, excited. It's just, like, it's like, just a thing where it's like, well, it'll be out and I'll get it.
Yeah.
The two would be Last of Us 2, and, which is clearly far away, and... What's that other zombie game that's made by Sony called? That's coming out? It's a little more of an open world kind of one. Man, I forget what it's called.
Oh, Dead Rising?
Yeah.
Wait, no, that's Xbox. That's not even close. What was I thinking?
Anything open world plus zombies is instantly like, I don't know.
I don't know if it's open world.
But even just zombies.
It's, Days Gone. Days Gone.
Is that already out?
Oh, no, that one's like
years.
super far away, I think. I legit...
7 Ways to Die. There's so many of them.
It's crazy. That Days Gone game, though, for me, it's not necessarily because it's zombies. I don't really care about that. It's because it's like a PS4 kind of not game. You know what I mean? Well, game/movie.
Oh, so it's more of a story game than anything.
Yeah. Oh, no, it is open world. Open world action adventure. I don't know. Just hearing open world survival horror, like, at least gets me interested. I would have been very into Silent Hills, but... Ripperino. Oh, how close is Kojima to his... What's that game called that he's
Death
making?
Stranding?
If it comes out this year, literally the world will end.
By the way, I am super excited for that.
So there's no,
After
like...
MGS5, I'm, like, not excited.
There's
for
not
it.
even close to, like, a release date or anything like that?
Like, if it comes out next year, I'd be surprised.
Okay, gotcha.
But, I don't know. It looks alright. I don't know if I talked about this before. I think I just talked about it to Ian at the store. But there's this recent trend of taking a famous celebrity and making it the main character or, like, a lot of the characters.
Yep.
And I don't really... Can you stop? I don't really agree with it. It's one of those things where who's the guy for Kojima's new game?
Norman Reedus?
Yeah, that guy. And when I see like his model and his face, I think of him as an actor, and when he plays like a role in a game or a story or even like something like that, I just think of him as a person rather than a character. Where like if they went back and made a remake of like MGS1 and like actually used a real person as Solid Snake, I would immensely dislike it like less.
Dude, legit, if Kojima could do that, because he's based off of that guy played by Kurt Russell in
Iroquois Pliskin.
yeah, in Escape from New York. He would literally just get Kurt Russell and make him like young, or make him look younger or whatever.
But
yeah, good.
So that's, I don't know. From what I understand, Norman Reedus and Kojima are actually like friends, and they like do collaborate a lot together. So I don't really see.
I don't really care about that. Like in MGS5, they used like real people as models for characters in the game, and it just bothers me to the point where I don't know. I guess it's really nitpicky, but even like there's a lot of games now like Last of Us didn't use any real life people as like models,
and they make their own unique, interesting characters.
But like when you just like that new Alan Wake game, Quantum Break, it starred like a couple real life people, and like when I played it, I was just like, why are these guys in a game? This is so stupid.
Yeah. I guess the only time, it's just like Until Dawn. Like, it's cool for 1 second when you see that psychologist guy was like in like Fargo and stuff like that, and it's cool for 1 second when you're like, oh, it's a guy from Fargo, but then you're like, why couldn't they just make a guy, you know? Why couldn't they make an interesting character? I think the only time that I guess it makes sense, it would be something like Beyond Two Souls, where it's just literally a movie, and they're like, well, I guess we'll get an actor or actress. Although that game, I almost said that movie, is like...
I think of the same people that made that game. Heavy Rain did it right because they used people as models, but they were literally like actors, and it didn't bother me because they're not like super prolific like A-list celebrities. You recognize them in 1 second, even for someone like me. But if it's just like a random person, they wanted to make it like a real human without using like just like a synthetic model. I think that's okay.
Yeah, it's like you play Beyond Two Souls and you can't separate like, oh, Ellen Page and what's that guy, Willem Dafoe, I think are like, they're the characters. You know, you can't separate it. So I don't. Yeah, I definitely agree.
And like,
why can't they just be like Last of Us and just make people?
Yeah. And I don't know. It's one of those things where you can be friends with the original creator, like Kojima and Norman Reedus. Like, I get it, but you could also just like do the voiceover and the motion capture, but just not be the model.
Yeah, I mean, people motion capture like every game, and they're not always like the character, you know. I don't know. Or if you're gonna do it, do like a small project where it's like a small DLC game, you know, like downloadable game where you're like, oh, look at this, we made this thing. Not like some huge, you know, actual game. I don't know, it's weird.
So this is pretty much the end of the segment. At this point, the Spirit Temple is the only one where you actually do something as child. You get the the Silver Gauntlets for the leader of the Gerudo back in time, and then you keep them and then you use them in the adult section. So it's like the only one where you do it both. But that'll be next time. And in fact, if this doesn't take long, plus the Gerudo training ground, I think the next segment will be the last one.
Ben! We're almost done! Take us out!
Wow, I can't wait to join all of you YouTube viewers next time for the exciting conclusion to The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time Master Quest!
Thumbs up.
That was a pretty epic outgo.
Thank you.
Outgo.
Outgo.
Outgo!